People often describe grocery shopping as a simple errand. Drive in, grab a basket, find the items you need, and leave within 20 minutes.
From ground level, that may be true. From a wheelchair, it is one of the most exhausting things you may do all week, an experience shaped by small design choices that most people never notice until they are the ones navigating them. Before you even enter the store, you face the first barrier: accessible parking. You approach the marked spaces and assume they will be clear because they are meant to be. Then you find half of them taken by shoppers without a placard, or you see a space that is close to a curb with no proper ramp cut.
The distance is not just inconvenient, it can make it unsafe to get your chair up from the asphalt onto the sidewalk. On bad days, you end up waiting in the parking lot, watching for someone to move their cart or vehicle. You do not want to confront anyone.
You do it politely, because that is part of how you have learned to survive in public spaces. Still, that is minute 1, an effort before you have even picked up a basket.
When you finally enter, the next obstacle appears quickly: the aisles. Grocery stores advertise accessibility with confident language and well-lit layouts, yet accessibility collapses when 2 shopping carts meet in a standard aisle.
You try to pass at wheelchair height, but there is no room for you to move through while others move through at the same time. The space becomes a bottleneck.
You back out and take the long way around, rerouting through sections that were never meant to be detours. It adds minutes you cannot recover, and it costs energy you did not plan to spend.
Many people are not attempting to block you. They are simply unaware, because they have never had to think about whether there is a continuous path for a chair to travel.
Then comes reaching, which may be the most persistent frustration across the entire trip. Grocery stores are built for someone standing at average height, able to reach up and down with minimal effort. In your seated position, up high is not just inconvenient, it is functionally out of reach.
Top shelves become inaccessible without assistance. Down low is not necessarily easier either. Bottom shelves are often blocked by products placed slightly forward, leaving you with an awkward angle and an arm that cannot extend where it needs to go. You learn to ask for help.
At first, you may feel discomfort, as though requesting assistance means you are admitting something you are not ready to admit. Over time, you realize that asking is not shameful, it is practical, and it fits the job. Store employees are there to help, but they cannot know what you need unless you ask directly and specifically.
Sometimes, motorized carts should solve much of this. When they work, they genuinely change the trip. You can conserve your arms and reach your needed products more safely. Yet, the solution is inconsistent. Many stores have only 1 or 2 motorized carts. They may already be in use. The battery may be dead because nobody plugged the charger in overnight.
You may arrive because you planned around that cart, because your arms are already worn out from earlier errands, because you accounted for the effort you had left to spend. When no cart is available, you adjust in real time, using your manual chair and accepting that the same trip will cost twice the energy and take much longer.
Checkout can be the single worst portion of the experience. Standard lanes are rarely designed with wheelchair clearance in mind. You may face a turnstile, a narrow metal gap, or a space that forces your wheels to scrape against painted surfaces.
If the lane is even slightly misaligned with your chair, you may have to reverse, reposition, and choose another lane entirely, while other shoppers wait behind you. Even when you use self-checkout, the problems often continue. The screen may be mounted at standing height, requiring you to crane your neck to see clearly.
The card reader may be positioned beyond comfortable reach, forcing an awkward stretch to tap your payment. The bagging area can be too high, making it difficult to place items into bags from a seated position without dropping them.
If you drop an item, it becomes another delay, another minor embarrassment, another reminder that the system was not built around you.
There is also a social layer that does not show up in store design plans: how people look at you. Some shoppers are kind. They may ask whether you need assistance and wait for your answer without making it awkward.
But others stare a beat too long. Some talk around you, addressing someone you are with rather than addressing you directly, as though you are not fully capable of discussing your own groceries. You may have a cashier ask a parent questions about your order while you are sitting right there, holding your own card and ready to respond.
None of this is always malicious. Often it is simply habit. Habit shaped by the assumption that people in chairs should not be active participants in routine tasks. Yet the effect accumulates. Over an entire week of errands, these moments become a constant background noise that drains you.
After years of trial and error, you may develop a set of practical strategies. You call the store ahead of time when you can, and you ask a specific question, whether a motorized cart is available and charged before you leave your home. You do not treat the cart as a lottery ticket.
You treat it as part of the plan. You also build your grocery list in the order the store is laid out. You think aisle by aisle, so you are not backtracking through narrow spaces more than necessary.
Backtracking is not merely time-consuming. It multiplies the number of times you must manage obstacles, avoid blocked aisles, and coordinate your movement through tight corridors.
You also stop treating help as a last resort reserved for emergencies. You ask for items on high shelves, because that is a straightforward request, and because it reduces strain and improves safety.
When you ask, you make it clear and specific which product, which shelf height, and where you are currently standing. That directness makes it easier for employees to respond quickly, and it often reduces awkwardness for both sides.
When you approach checkout, you choose your lane before you are right up to it. You scan ahead for enough clearance and for a setup that allows your chair to align naturally. You avoid being trapped in a narrowing space with a line building behind you.
Planning this early prevents conflict and reduces stress. You are not trying to slow anyone down. You are trying to move through the space without fighting the architecture.
Some obstacles are less obvious to people who shop standing up. Consider the frozen and refrigerated section. Those doors are built to seal tightly and to resist force. They are heavy and they are designed for leverage from standing height. From a chair, you must pull while also holding your position so your chair does not roll backward at the exact moment the door swings. The coordination is difficult. You may open the door and then realize it has swung shut again, catching your hand because you could not maintain both leverage and position at once. It is a small, forgettable moment for someone walking by, but it can be a recurring daily challenge for you.
Produce can be another difficult area because it seems harmless. However, bins are often deep and angled in a way that assumes you are reaching down from above. When you reach from a seated position, you may be reaching up and in at an awkward angle simultaneously.
That strain targets your shoulder in a way you feel immediately, and it repeats across every bin. Items at the back may be out of reach entirely. You may see produce that looks fine and be unable to access it because it sits behind the reach zone your body can safely control.
You may end up needing assistance multiple times in a single produce visit, and that adds time, waiting, and physical fatigue. One of the most important lessons may not be about the store at all, but about how you structure your day. You may learn to build in extra time intentionally instead of trying to squeeze the trip into the same tight schedule everyone else assumes. In the beginning, when you rushed, each obstacle felt like a crisis. Being delayed turned every blocked aisle, every inaccessible shelf, every checkout issue into a compounding problem because you were already behind.
Over time, you shift your expectations. You plan for the trip to take twice as long as it would take someone else. That change is not magical, and it does not fix the store. However, it changes your stress level dramatically because you stop fighting the clock and the aisle at the same time.
All of this may sound burdensome, but it is important to name the reality precisely. This is rarely dramatic. Nobody is falling down in a movie-like moment. No one is being harmed in a way that makes headlines. That repetition is the point. Instead, the day is shaped by 20, 30, or more small frictions stacked on top of each other. Minor barriers that are manageable one at a time, but exhausting when they repeat every trip, every week, every year. Disability life is often not defined by one visible incident.
It is defined by quiet accumulation, 100 small moments that never appear in someone else's version of the same grocery run. If you are disabled and any of this sounds familiar, you are not imagining it, and you are not being dramatic.
A routine errand can genuinely be tiring when the environment is not built for your access needs. If you are not disabled and this is new information, you may be seeing a different side of what you once interpreted as slow or inconvenient.
The person in front of you might not be delaying you on purpose. They may be working through obstacles you never had to consider, simply because you have never had to sit at wheelchair height and test every gap, every shelf, every door, and every lane. So the goal is not pity. It is understanding, clarity, and practical change. The experience you have in a grocery store can be transformed when spaces, layouts, and systems are designed to allow smooth movement, comfortable reach, and respectful participation for everyone.
Until then, you manage what you can, planning ahead, asking for help when needed, choosing routes and lanes intentionally, and giving yourself the time that the environment demands. And if you carry this knowledge forward, you can do one simple thing. Treat accessibility as something that affects real people in real moments, not as an abstract ideal.
Next time you are in a store and you see a blocked aisle, an inaccessible setup, or a person navigating at wheelchair height, you may be able to make the situation better with a small, immediate action, moving a cart, clearing a path, and speaking directly and respectfully.
That is how ordinary trips become possible for more people, not through spectacle, but through the steady removal of everyday barriers.